Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video, and we're going to be continuing on this kind of travel theme as I give some tips and tricks for travel in Japan. Japan is one of those countries that you don't really know what to expect when you arrive there for the very first time. It can seem very alien and very new to you. So this is why I thought I was helped massively through, tip videos and travel sort of videos to Japan. So I thought, you know what, let's do my own for sort of some of my experiences of my 2 weeks in Japan. Now, I'm going to start off with travel to Tokyo, because Tokyo seems to be a main destination that a lot of people do go to when they go to Japan. So you got one question: do you go to Narita Airport or do you go to Haneda Airport? Now, personally, I would recommend Haneda Airport, because I went to Narita without realizing that it's about an hour, nearly 2 hours away from Tokyo on the train. I didn't realize that when I booked my flights to Narita Airport. Haneda is right in the middle of Tokyo, easy to get straight into the center of Tokyo, while Narita takes a very long time. It's quite an old, it's a kind of old airport, is Narita, and it's just a bit too far out the way for some people. And if you've come off a long flight, you're jet lagged, you don't really want to be getting a very long train into Tokyo. So I guess that would be my first bit of advice. If you are flying to Tokyo, try and find flights to Haneda. I know it can be a bit more expensive, but then you're not having to pay for the train. So continuing on the travel around Tokyo, get one of these. So this is a Pasmo card, or you can get a Suica card. It costs about 500 yen, which is about £4, about $5. And they're like an Oyster card or anything. You top it up with how much you need, and it just makes travel along the metro and all the trains around Tokyo super simple. Because if you go into a ticket barrier to buy an individual ticket, you need to know how much it's going to cost, rather than where your destination is. So just to get rid of all the hassle and all the fuss, just get one of these. Go to any ticket machine that does them. You can select English and it takes you right through it. Yeah, so it's a really handy thing to get, especially if you're just looking for easy travel around Tokyo. Another sort of thing about travel around Tokyo is that the Yamanote line is possibly the most handy line you could ask for any public transport system in the world. The Yamanote line is like a big loop that goes around Tokyo, and it goes to all the sort of major touristy areas. So you can go to places like Shinjuku, Shibuya, sort of all those places. Where I stayed in Tokyo, in Kanda, it was next to, Ikebura, Akihabara, sort of places like that where you can just, really touristy areas of Tokyo, and it just makes it really simple to get about. Of course, it does have its sort of, you have your rush hour times and it's very busy, but if you're just looking to use it sort of through the day, it's really handy line to take. Suica cards are actually really useful for other things, like if you're a big gamer and like your arcade games. If you go to like the Taito Station arcade games, which is like 7 floors of arcade, you can actually pay to go on arcade using this. So maybe be a little bit careful, because you can end up spending a lot of money and you may need it to go back home. So it's not the best idea to do that, especially if you're on a budget. But if you're not, use it, and keep topping it up. I've even seen it being used in restaurants. I think we were at it was a sushi bar in Shinjuku Station, and they accepted Pounds Money card as a form of payment. So they're really, really handy things to get. Just makes life a lot easier, especially so you don't have to deal with all those sort of very complicated ticket barriers. Now, if you're going to do what I did in Japan, I went from Tokyo to Kyoto, Kyoto to Osaka, and then Osaka back to Tokyo, sort of in my 2 weeks. And to get from there, you need to use the Shinkansen, or you can fly or whatever, but I decided to take the Shinkansen, which is the bullet trains. And I found the most easy way to pay for it, the most cost-effective way to pay for that, was to get a Japan Rail Pass, or JR Rail Pass. So JR Rail Pass, it does cost quite a bit of money. I can't think off the top of my head of how much it costs. I think it was around £130, but it gives you unlimited travel on all Japan Rail lines for a certain period of time. So mine was 14 days. We activated it sort of the second day that we were there, and you can use it for, as mentioned before, the Yamanote line. So if you are travelling, starting your travels in Tokyo or making your way through Tokyo on your travels, you can use the Yamanote line for free using your JR Rail Pass. You can also use the Shinkansen as much as you like, and I know there's places out there sort of on the internet that you can look for like calculators, so you sort of put in all the destinations that you're going, and then you can sort of see how cost effective it would be. I also use my JR Pass for the Narita Express, which is kind of like the fastest train you can get from centre of Tokyo to Narita Airport, which was great because otherwise the trains can take absolutely hours. But the Shinkansen was a great experience. I think they're brilliant bullet trains. I tried them in China as well, and they're really cool ways of travel. Eat a lot of bento, you know, the sort of the boxes, and it's a really good way, I think, of travelling. So if you are doing a lot of travelling and going to a lot of places in Japan, I would definitely recommend the JR Rail Pass, as long as it's cost effective. Otherwise it can be a lot of money for just not a lot. Food in Japan is amazing. I absolutely love Japanese food, and if you don't speak a lot of Japanese, like I don't, it can be really daunting to go into a Japanese restaurant and order food when you're just sort of in English, and you know, not all the menus of restaurants are in English. So there are definitely ways of getting about it. When I was in Osaka, we went to Dotonbori, and Dotonbori is an absolutely crazy place. But a lot of the restaurants there, they do good food, and it's all offered in English. You can go to sort of side of the street sort of places, and you just order on a little machine. You sort of press the machine, you give them your ticket, and then they sort of then hand you your food. I found them to be really good. Or failing that, you're not really too keen on, you know, eating out Japanese all the time, 7-Elevens and convenience stores are absolutely everywhere. I found them absolutely brilliant while I was there, and you can go there, grab snacks, grab sort of little bits. I had one night, I had one of those sort of, from 7-Eleven, I got a fried noodle sandwich, which is basically just fried noodles in a little bun. It was, I think it cost me 100 yen, which is less than £1, and it was, you know, it was pretty good. And they did other stuff in 7-Elevens. You can get like these little rice triangles, and it has different flavours. You have like octopus and beef and ones like that. You know, they're great little snacks to, you know, have on the go. But do sort of remember this one thing: if you are buying from like 7-Elevens, don't walk around and eat. You know, you don't want to. There's sort of you have to keep the streets clean. Attitude is definitely enforced around Japan, and they don't want you dropping your food all over the place. So if you are, just eat it outside the 7-Eleven, or in some 7-Elevens and places like that, they have places inside where you can eat. But you know, you can go to restaurants and order food. Some places, you know, have like pictures, or if you do know some Japanese, or just use Google Translate and just point to what you want, I guess. Same with any sort of country that you don't have, you don't know the language. I know kanji can seem like quite a daunting sort of thing to read because it's very unromantic kind of language and sort of thing to read. So do make sure if you have go and grab like a sim or something, use like Google Translate. You can use a camera and just translate the sort of stuff on the page. Some restaurants that I found were brilliant. I know people want to go out there for I want authentic sushi, but I'm not too bothered. I wasn't really too bothered by that. I like sushi and I like sort of that kind of area of Japanese food. So going to places like I think they're called Bullet Train, sushi places. So there's a place, I think it's a chain in Tokyo called Uobe, which we had some food, and it's super cheap. It tastes really, really good. You can not just have, just sushi bits, but they did stuff like udon noodles and sort of other sort of takoyaki and stuff like that. And the amount of plates that I had, if I had that in a place like Yo Sushi, it would have cost me 40-50 quid. But going to Uobe, it cost me just over 1,000 yen, which it's about 1,100-1,200 yen, which is about £10, if that. So it's really cheap, really good food, and I don't see what you can complain about. Being vegetarian definitely does have its challenges. If you are heading off to Japan, because they have quite a lot of fish, quite a lot of meat in their diet, so vegetarian places were very difficult to come about. But I did a quick sort of Google of vegetarian places around where I was. In Kyoto, I found this ramen shop that did a vegetarian ramen, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Also in Kyoto, I found a restaurant that did vegetarian okonomiyaki, which again is a dish that I would absolutely recommend to anyone who goes to Kyoto and Osaka, because they have slight variations on it. So they do it one way in Kyoto, and then I also had it the way it's done in Osaka, and they're both absolutely incredible. It's done on a grill top just in front of you, and it's a really cool thing to watch them make. In terms of accommodation in Japan, there are definitely many ways you can do it. You can do it business hotels, top hotels, or even capsule hotels. I did it mostly in business hotels. So I stayed in a business hotel in Tokyo. I actually stayed at a really, really beautiful inn in Kyoto. It was like a health spa inn. It was done in a really traditional sense, and it was really, really beautiful. And then I stayed at this business hotel in Osaka that was just over the road from Osaka Castle. So you can find some really good places to stay, but of course it all depends on your budget. If you are looking to go sort of really cheap, then capsule hotels are definitely the way to go forward. We didn't book a hotel because we booked our flights in and out of Tokyo. We had to get the train from Osaka to Tokyo, stay the night, and then fly out the next day. So we decided to book a capsule hotel in Akihabara. And, I didn't know really what to expect, but for me, I absolutely loved capsule hotels. It might seem weird that you're, sleeping in a dorm and there's 20 other capsules sort of in this room, but, I found it amazing. I felt like I wasn't sleeping there. It felt very private, and it was great. It had a room, sort of a social room, where you could, sit and eat, and there were vending machines where you could get hot food and stuff, and it was really great. And they had reading materials and stuff. It was quite cool. In your room you had a little television, so you could watch what was on there. They had films and stuff on there, so it was really, really cool. And for how cheap it was, I think it came to, I can't even think, it was something around £20-30 a night. So, and you can stay there consecutive nights, so it's not just an overnight thing. So if you want to stay in a capsule hotel, I would definitely recommend it. You know, look out there. There's absolutely loads in Tokyo. I didn't really look too much in Kyoto or Osaka, but I know around the entire country they have capsule hotels, and I think they are a great thing to look at if you are on a budget. Finally, I want to talk about, you know, tattoos. If you have got tattoos, don't expect to be able to really be allowed in any public onsens or swimming pools or gyms. I think the sort of rules are, I think it's, you know, tattoos are something to do with like the Yakuza and the Japanese mafia, so people with tattoos aren't, they do sort of spot you. And so yeah, many places can be very funny about people with tattoos, especially anything sort of like public swimming pools or onsens. You have to have them covered. But if you go into, like, if you want to sort of try an onsen, definitely go private. It's more expensive, but at least you still get to have that opportunity. Same with any like swimming pools. Like in Osaka, I wasn't allowed in the swimming pool unless I had this covered. My brother wasn't allowed in the gym, and he had to wear like a long sleeve t-shirt and long trousers to make sure that no one could see any of his tattoos. But that's the only sort of restrictions on them. They're not like you have to keep your tattoos covered at all times. Yeah, people can give you some funny looks because tattoos aren't really much of a thing in Japan, but it's just the way their culture is, and you just have to sort of respect that while you're there. My final sort of tip, I guess, is take cash with you. Japan, you might think, is like this super futuristic, everyone pays with their retinas or something, but they're actually a very cash-based society, and people keep a lot of cash on them all the time. So yeah, make sure that you have cash on you, because very few places, you know, take card. And don't worry about it sort of getting nicked, because pickpocketing isn't really a thing in Japan, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. And if anything, people are actually really good at giving you stuff back. I left my phone several times in many different places, and the people would always find me and give it back. I found that in general, the Japanese people are really helpful and really willing to help tourists. I remember when we arrived in Osaka, we got off at Osaka station, and we were like, right, we have absolutely no idea where to go. This one woman came up to us and said, "Hi, can I help you at all?" And I sort of showed her the address of the hotel, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's fine. Just, you know, go up there, take a right, go over the bridge, and it's just on your left." And we were like, really, you know, grateful when people did. If we ever looked sort of puzzled or confused, people did, you know, offer their help, which is, you know, you don't get that too often in Britain. So it was really nice to see that people do help you if you are sort of lost, and if you do sort of have sort of like a destination that you want sort of written in kanji, they might, you know, help you and give you sort of a general direction of where you need to go. So yeah, that's all I've really got to say. Japan is an absolutely amazing country. There's so much more that I want to see. I'm already planning my next trip to Japan sometime in the future. I really hope to go again. So I really hope that if you're watching this and you're going to Japan soon, that this does help. So that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, make sure to hit the like button. If you are new here, do subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.